I work at a seemingly small pet store in a quite average American town. We sell all a variety of foods for your fluffy friends, and toys and animals as well. And we also have cryptids. The store isn't much bigger than any other pet store. It looks fun and welcoming from the outside, and the inside looks more like a cozy warehouse. We're located in a desert, but that's all I can tell you. And we have a special section dedicated to our pets, and to be honest, I think it takes up most of the space that we have. At least on the top floor. But that's good. Animals have to have a lot of safe space to roam and fly around freely. And we've also got shelves packed with colorful, all 100% natural snacks, hay, herbs, and meaty foods for dogs and cats, and hundreds of toys in big baskets under the shelves. You can also order anything that you need if your companion is on a wilder side. One guy adopts injured coyotes. So as you can tell, we've got everything you need and more. There is a secret basement underneath our store that stretches for miles on end. All of our employees know about it and are trained to take care of everything that lives there. No one else knows in town except for a few veteran customer residents. Almost all of our basement level clients are from other states or even countries. We sometimes call it the pit, underneath, or simply the crypt. It's the biggest basement that you'd ever seen. Rows of prison-like cells that were customized to safely accommodate their owners seem to go on forever. We have about 250 cryptids, but there are at least 500 more empty cells. And we know all of them and take care of them, as we do with all of our small friends on the top floor. I can't really tell you why they're here, but I can tell you how they got here and how we manage them. Well, at least some of them, cause some things are too secret to even mention them here. It's quite similar to the SCP organization, but our species aren't as dangerous. I would say that we are more laid back than those guys. An important note, we are all trained professionals and we have strict rules regarding the underneath. No one and nothing is in danger. And we put our hearts and souls into caring for both the cryptids and animals on the top floor. I think I'll start easy and fun. Why do you think nobody has seen Bigfoot since that famous film? Well, he's here. He's been here all along. The clip was captured by one of our owner's grandfather right before he took Bigfoot, and they got him here. Don't worry, he didn't just take him and forced him to be here. No, Bigfoot came voluntarily. It sounds crazy, but I swear that it's true. There were some problems in the woods and the Sasquatch was in direct danger, so they had to intervene. We got him a cozy lair down here, made it look like his natural home, and we make sure his cell is as close to his previous habitat as possible. We provide him with fresh meat every day, and we bring him animals to play with. He's a huge scary looking guy, but he's very friendly, and all that good stuff. Also, I forgot to mention that the cells are different. They kind of act on their own and they adapt to the residents' needs. They're kind of like that magic bag that Hermione had. They seem like normal sized cells, but once you step in them, you can easily get lost if you wander too far. So Bigfoot has his own forest in our basement. Shit, we went in there recently and discovered a whole ass pond right behind the bushes. As far as I know, he's not complaining. The basement also has sections. The wooded section, caves, and water pavilions. The Sasquatch was obviously in the wooded area, more in the front of the bottom floor, and now we'll get to the water part. It's at the very end of the hallway, and when you get to turn right and then go all the way to the end, you'll be looking at a big body of water surrounded by willows and various flowery plants. There will be vines hanging down from the branches, and a few sandy and grassy islands. This is where the mermaids live. The cell is soundproof, so none of us end up at the bottom of their lake, and we don't really want to get in there. When we need to go into their cell, we call a special female unit and they take care of the problem. Mermaids aren't a threat to women, in fact, they love and adore them. Every time we call in the unit, they end up with dozens of flower crowns, pearls and small handcrafted gifts from our fish girls. It's really sweet, but knowing what they use to make them is a little off-putting. Right next to the mermaids is where the Rusalkas live. Their cell looks like a meadow that you would find somewhere in the middle of the forest with a murky and shallow pond in the center. It's also soundproof. They're more dangerous to us than the mermaids, so we have to be more careful around them. But they usually just sit on the edge of the water, gossip, and brush their hair. They are not exactly cryptids, but they do somehow fall into that category, and we're the only place that could keep them. They don't try to cause trouble, and they're dangerous if you don't follow the rules, but they don't try as many tricks as the mermaids do. They get a little more restless in early June, and they are more eager to try to make us go in. If we stare too long, they get angry, and sometimes will throw things at the door, and it's not anything like flowers. We do have a nice pack of jackalopes somewhere between the wooded area and the cave sections as well. They eat normal rabbit food, and sometimes we throw them some meat as a treat. They also love dried dandelions. Only dried though. It's the only thing that would make them behave and let us take care of their antlers or any health-related issues. Some of them are very friendly and let us pet them, just like normal domestic bunnies. And they love it. There are still so many that I could tell you about, but I'll keep it for later if you're interested. We do have a few very famous creatures that are kept secret from the public, so maybe I'll introduce them at some point. To avoid misunderstandings, I should mention that some of the cryptids aren't exactly straight-up cryptids, but they kind of fall into other categories such as mythical creatures or maybe just creatures from folklore. Nonetheless, they aren't publicly proven to be real, and we use the word cryptid as an umbrella term. Everything that has a legend behind it is neither human nor animal, is a cryptid. So I already told you about our big and friendly Sasquatch, mermaids, Rusalkas, and Jackalopes. I would say that these are one of the easiest to maintain. With all the safety protocols, experience, and knowledge that we have, we don't really worry about getting killed. But getting hurt is definitely a threat. There are things out there that can do a lot to us, and we don't want to risk it. Luckily, they haven't hurt us yet, and I don't think that they will. As long as we're not stupid, of course. Some of our cryptids are less friendly though. Not particularly mean or evil, although we do have those too, but just distant and grumpy in nature. The cave section, close enough to the wooded area to be able to sprout a small forest, far away from potential victims and predators. The infamous Chupacabra. There is only one. We had heard legends about whole populations of chupacabras, but they are false. And the one is here with us. It wasn't here when I came, but I know the story very well. The first sightings or reports started creeping in somewhere in early 1995, but we believe that he was around way longer than that. At first, no one was certain if it's something for us or if it's just a new species of animal or maybe an animal with unusual eating habits. But more and more sightings happened, and it became clear that it was something more than just a canine. An investigation was the #1 priority, and they weren't sure how far chupacabras would go and if they would soon start feasting on humans. It took quite some time, but they finally caught El Chupacabra on the border of Puerto Rico in 1998. It was a hassle, and transporting him here took way longer than expected. It remained as one of the hardest transport interventions to this day. The descriptions that you find on the internet vary and they're not too accurate. They get the idea, but they always mess something up. The Chupacabra is about the size of an average goat with the build of a German Shepherd. It does indeed have a single row of spines all the way from its head to its tail, very sharp teeth, and a lizard-like tongue. Imagine a typical set of canine teeth, but longer, sharper, and some are even doubled. The overall appearance is confusing. It does look like something, but at the same time, it doesn't look like anything. It resembles a dog, sometimes even a kangaroo, and from certain angles it looks like a monkey. It doesn't have fur, but it's not just bald skin. Maybe just a thick and extremely short fur. maybe skin with millions of tiny and blunt spikes. It's not sharp to the touch, but it's also not fluffy. He walks on all fours but can stand up and use his fronts to catch and hold things. He sort of just jumps like a monkey, but when he runs like a dog. Big claws, 4 fingers, hind legs that look like those that rabbits have, except uglier with claws. Oh, and the tail has a little triangle at the end, for the lack of a better example, the stereotypical devil tail. Our Chupacabra is a pain in the ass. He or it, we never know how to address Chupi, so we can just juggle between the two. He doesn't hate being here. He just likes to be nasty. He won't eat us or bite us, but he'll do everything to make our job harder. He's quite a loner and he's doing well on his own. But sometimes we will let him play with another creature that we have here and it seems like they get along pretty well. It obviously eats goats and only goats, so we don't feed him anything else. But luckily, one will last for a whole week, sometimes even longer when it's bigger and more meaty. All of the alleged sightings after 1998 are proved to be false, or the witness saw something that looked similar. A sick coyote, perhaps. All the attacks also have been just other animals. There's only one Chupacabra. A lot of you asked about the Mothman as well, so I decided to mention him briefly. He's not here currently, but he belongs to the Underneath. We thought about his case for years, and at the end, we came to a conclusion that he would be better off on his own. We wouldn't be able to keep him here, and to be fair, we don't want to. He doesn't harm anyone or anything, and he can easily avoid getting caught or even being spotted, so there's no direct danger. We would have also had an issue with his cell, and he doesn't really live in a specific location. So we just decided to keep an eye on him from a distance, monitor the sightings and reports coming back on him, and let him be. He's a very understanding creature. He basically has a brain of an adult human and is really smart. He can read and he understands us, but he can't really communicate very well. He doesn't talk and he doesn't write on paper, although he can write a word or two in the sand with his finger. We left a letter for him with a small tracking device attached, hoping he would understand, and he did. We also left instructions where to find us, and surprisingly, he came and let us put it on him. It doesn't affect his life in any way, so don't worry. He just lets us know where he is, and that's all. We have a whole ass Mothman program going on, and he has his own separate set of files. He's definitely special, nothing like I've seen before. Recently, we got a few reports and calls from Maine, Iowa, and Ontario that sparked some conversations. We thought that we would never get those again. It's dark, but I thought that I should share it nonetheless. Years ago, we were on a hunt for Wendigos in northern Minnesota, and it didn't go too well. It killed some folks that wandered too far into the woods, so we had to intervene. Those bastards are known to be very dangerous and hard to get, but it was our duty to respond. We geared up and we set off to find them. We knew that it might not go according to plan, but we had to try. After a day of searching, we found a cave full of dead bodies, or should I say remains of dead bodies, bones and dried blood. We knew that we had the one because of the smell that could belong only to a Wendigo. We got the hell out of there so we wouldn't get caught and decided to split up into 2 groups, setting on both sides of an area with a pond and waiting for the creature to show up. It was the only source of water near the cave, so they indeed showed up. A horrible sight. They're the creepiest looking things out there. I'm sure all of you know how these bastards look like, so I'll skip the description. All I'm gonna say is that all of them have antlers. Anyway, 2 of them came and they were huge. We waited for a while, but before we got to do anything, they figured out that we were there. We did not expect that. The protocol says that in case of being spotted, you must drop everything and save yourself. And that's what we did. We ran. We had flamethrowers with us in case they got too close, and we were getting ready to use them. When we heard one of them scream, you will know a Wendigo scream when you hear one. we knew that it might be our last day on the job. They were chasing us and they were fast. They caught up to us pretty quickly, and we knew that we had to get rid of them before they got rid of us. We stopped and we burned them right then and there. 2 more seconds and I wouldn't be writing this right now. It was the worst hunt that I had ever been on. It left some of the troops speechless for days. We didn't want to talk to each other for a while, and all of us got a month-long vacation, with a possibility to prolong it. We don't hunt for Wendigos anymore. Luckily, there were only 2 and we didn't get any more calls. Up until now. We still don't know what to do. We could maybe deal with Maine, but 2 more places? No way. We're having meetings now and we're trying to come up with a solution. But for now, going out there is the last thing on the list. Fortunately, nobody died yet, so we still have our hopes up. But we know that we just can't wait for them to start killing. We all know, but nobody wants to talk about it. We are aware though, so if any of you live close to those areas, please do not go camping. Do not stay out at night and do not leave your animals outside. Wendigos will kill you and there's no way to escape without burning them. A small update on the Wendigos. Some locals found a dead carcass in the river somewhere on the east side of Iowa. They thought that it was a decaying deer or something, but at the closer look, they quickly realized that it was not an animal at all. They obviously know the legends of the Wendigos and they were able to connect the dots. Special forces have been alerted and they confirmed their speculations. We don't know how this one died. There is not a single burn mark on it. But the body is going to be transported to a special location and examined. Hopefully, it's the only one out there and we'll be down to just Maine and Ontario. I also have better news to share. After years of silence and searching, we finally got a hold of the one and only Yeti. It felt like forever since we first heard of him or her, and now we got the chance to see it and locate it. Like a large white bear-like thing, you know? But like it was standing, but not like a bear, you know? And huge. It was huge. No bear can be this huge, right? Explained in broken English by an Indian guy. He was very confused, but he tried to describe the thing as best as he could. And you saw it where? In the woods? No. Behind a tree outside of my home. So just a single tree. Is there a forest, and what was it doing? Did somebody else see it? The tree outside my house, just standing there, like a man. It looked like a bear, but I saw some bears in my life and they don't do stuff like that. I don't know, I didn't see anyone. I'm not gonna write down the entire conversation and you get the idea. What puzzled my friends and I the most was that the sighting occurred in the middle of the day in a remotely populated area. Was it confused, scared maybe? Was it looking for help? We didn't know and the guy didn't know either. We sent some of our people to investigate, but they didn't find anything. We sent an order to search every forest, every cave, and to make helicopter rounds at least 3 times a day. Nothing. And we had nothing for years. We even set up a base to be there at all times and we still haven't gotten anything. But recently, we got a call from Tibet that claimed to have the snowman, so we immediately went to see what was going on. They really did get a hold of our Yeti. They located a cave that was inhabited by something, so they decided to watch to see what was living in it. It turned out to be the snowman. We don't know if it was the same one from India, since the locations were not too close to each other, but we were too happy to question it. We sent out a team and they took charge in the investigation. And we now have the exact location of the Yeti, and we're kind of spying on it. We still don't know if it's a he or she. The name says Snowman, but honestly, no one ever got close enough to know, and like, how do you even check? Just ask it? Of course, we're doing everything from a distance to not disturb it. What if there's more than one? What if it has kids? So many questions and even more answers that we're very excited for, and I'll keep you updated on it. Now back to our older residents. It has quite a sappy backstory, but things got better. We have a beautiful church grim that we caught about 5 years ago in an old graveyard west of Yorkshire. For those of you who have never heard of such a thing, a church grim is a spirit that protects the Christian church and the churchyard. And from what, you ask? Basically from everything that could cause harm. Back in the day, witches are evil spirits and now stupid people. It usually takes the form of a big black dog, and this one was especially big. The poor thing was probably lonely and confused why nobody knew was coming to him. With no other soul in there, he was the only one bound to that place that was long gone. We came across an article from an English newspaper about a teenage boy who got attacked by an aggressive dog with red eyes while exploring an abandoned church and a graveyard. He was literally spray painting some offensive stuff in the graves. Luckily, he was only lightly scratched, but we all knew what was coming for that dog. We thought that it might be a church grim or a black shuck even, and we decided to go and see for ourselves. Normally, we wouldn't get involved, but all the red flags were up. We did some asking around and we located the graveyard, showed up at night and we waited. At some point, we spotted 2 red dots flying around one of the tombstones, and we made a run for it. Sadly, we had to use some force to take the dog, because we knew it was better that we would get him before the townsfolk did. We also heard that the graveyard was going to end up relocated or something like that, so we didn't even have a choice. He was impossible to catch and he left us all bleeding, but we finally had him. And so now, the church, a small tribute to Pet Cemetery, lives with us and he's a very lively and happy pup. It's like he's not a ghost at all. He loves to play fetch and he's very protective of us. He was timid at first, but he quickly made friends with our hellhounds and other dog-like creatures. He loves hellhounds the most though. We even made an exception to the rule and moved him to their cell recently because they were happier that way. And speaking of hellhounds, yes, we do have them. Like actual hellhounds from hell. Don't ask me how we got them because it's a terrible story. But they're here with us and they're very energetic. Some of you asked about my favorite cryptid and I said Bigfoot each time. But now that I'm writing this down, I have to say that I really love Church and the hellhounds. Good boys are my weakness. Also, another quick and fun story. Once, somebody showed up on our doorstep visibly scared. He said that he had something for us in his truck. So we got to his truck and we see something enormous under a blanket. It was Cerberus. A sleeping Cerberus. I'm telling you, man, it ate my dog's food and it passed out in the shed. My dog has to take these meds that make him sleep, so I put it in his food and like, he ate that. I mean, this ate it. My bongo didn't even get to take a bite. And a whole ass bag of dog food was gone too. My lord, it ate everything. He was sweating like crazy. He probably thought that he was losing his mind. I don't know how Cerberus could pass out from such a small dose of sleep medicine, but it did. It was out like a sleeping baby. If I wasn't in this job, I would tell this guy to go check if his brain is where it should be, but somehow it all made sense to me. We took Cerberus in and after about a week, another guy showed up. He was dressed in a white suit with a tailcoat thingy at the back. He had brown curly hair and a full-grown beard. He was quite nicely tan and honestly, really good looking. He had very dark eyes, but there is something unusual about them. Like little sparkles flying inside of them. Or maybe it was just the lights in our store. Either way, after a few seconds of me just standing there and staring at him, he finally asked to go somewhere private. I took him to a small room that serves as our office. He introduced himself and explained why he came. And guess what? Hades comes to my store to get his 3-headed dog that he lost. You know, like he usually does. I asked my boss to come and help cause I was hella dumbfounded. I had seen some things, but that was just plain weird. Last time I checked, Hades didn't wear suits, and he definitely didn't speak fluent English or Cerberus didn't just go missing from the underworld. I had a headache for about 2 days after that. But it was really Hades though. He showed us some things that only a god could do, and when we let him in the basement, Cerberus recognized him. We signed some papers and they went back home. And I haven't encountered anything weirder than that, at least yet. I can tell you that Hades is a really nice guy though. He was polite, well-mannered, and he seemed to really care about his pop. He was a little intimidating, but what else can you expect from the ruler of the underworld? And before you ask, I don't know if other Greek, Nordic, or any other gods exist, or if they roam Earth. 3 years ago, I would say hell no, but now I lean towards they probably do. I haven't seen or met any of them except for Hades, but if he was here, why not the others? Personally, I'm not religious, but when a god physically stands in front of me, I won't question it. Anyways, sorry if I don't post for a little while after this. Summer is hard for us cause we have way more customers upstairs and we also have to deal with way more injuries. Some cryptids are more active during the summer, so we go out more as well. I'll try my best though. If you want more stories, I'll give you more. I already have some news and encounters written down that I thought you might like, and there are a few things happening currently, so I should be back with another post eventually. Stay safe folks, and be careful around ponds and hide when you hear howling. It's werewolf season.